Ladies and gentlemen and ninjas, welcome back to the Decon podcast. You're here on the African Geekdom corner with your boy JP. Today, our topic of discussion will be the much maligned, discussed, revered, and well, all around divisive topic of the Snyderverse. To restore or not to restore? That is the question here. So, grab your coffees and let's talk about it. Now, let's hop right into it. Throwing my hat into the ring of another hot topic, and in case you can't tell which side I fall on, or I made a secret about it, I'm squarely on the side of Restoration started in 2013 with Men of Steel, the first movie to come out of the DCEU. Well, for me it started in 2011 when it was announced that Zack Snyder would be directing a Superman movie for WB. By then I knew who he was. I was very familiar with his work. I liked Dawn of the Dead. I also liked Watchmen. And that animated owl movie he made, Guardians of Gao. Recently we watched it with my son. That movie came out in 2011. My son's 11 now. Makes sense. We both enjoyed it. The only I wouldn't say I'm a Snyder fan per se. I am a fan of his work. I do like what he does. I especially like what he did with the DCU. But I'm very even-handed with this. Like with all other directors, if he does some shit that is not up to scratch, I'll say it. That one movie with, I think it was 2011 as well, with all the girls in the asylum. I get it was some sort of Alice in Wonderland thing, but The Matrix had already done that and done it better. But it was just not a good movie. It was just while entertaining, it was with entertaining action scenes, very creative as you would expect from Zack Snyder. The whole thing, it didn't come together as a solid narrative. Was pretty shit. Yeah. I liken it to Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, a collection of scenes just mishmashed together that doesn't really tell a solid story. Also, the other Zack Snyder, Army of the Dead. I watched it. I even rewatched it. I think it's a very unique take on the zombie genre. Somebody had to do it at some point. But I do have issues with it. It's not that good. Although in hindsight, when it comes to Army of the Dead, it's not an Army of the Dead review, I apologize. Just some thoughts. I think it might grow on me or grow on everyone because I think Zack Snyder elected to do some form of long form storytelling here. He's building a world, and everything that might have not made sense, if you get me, in Army of the Dead or within will make sense down the line in the other movies that come out. Army of Thieves also a bit lackluster, but yeah, it did look good at least. Now back to the matter at hand. Perfection is perfected, so I'ma let him understand. If you permit me to quote Snoop Dogg, The Snyderverse, 2013, Men of Steel comes out, I go to watch it in the cinema. And I loved every minute of it. Did I? No, I had some issues with it. There were so many quick cuts and quick edit. I was thinking they were having an editing problem. I thought myself, how the hell they let this out? All this chup. But I later come to understand that there are studio mandates and you have to chop movies down to a certain amount of time. So yeah, I let that one go. That issue aside, I did love Man of Steel. It was a great start to the Superman mythos. Very unique start to the Superman mythos. And well, I was very taken aback and surprised at all the complaints that I got later, or that I heard later, about how it was too destructive and how Superman didn't do enough. How could Superman kill? And I think that everyone misinterpreted what was being exhibited on screen or was trying to be conveyed in the story. In the sense that Superman had barely been Superman for a day before he had to confront Zod. Confronting Zod and his army of fully trained military superhumans. And he somehow came out on top. But he killed Superman. Look, shut the fuck up. It was presented, obviously, in a situation where he had to make a choice. And in my opinion, for me anyway, our heroes, as far as they go, not supposed to be to kill aside. They're supposed to do the things that we cannot. They're supposed to put themselves on the line. That's what makes them heroes. Doing that extra bit that normal people would not. Like, who was going to confront Zod? Who was going to snap Zod's neck to save that family? And why didn't he just take off? Why didn't he just take off? He tried to take off with Zod several times. He can't take him in the air. The only reason he was able to beat Zod, I think, is because A, he was more determined. B, he had more experience, kind of, with his powers than Zod. He was facing an extremely well-disciplined, well-trained opponent. So yeah, snapped his fucking neck. And I advise him to do it again. Yeah, but all the destruction in the city, why did you take John away from the city? Have you heard, motherfucker? He was inexperienced. He tried. I was watching the movie. I don't know what the fuck y'all was watching. He tried to drag Zod away from that city. But that motherfucker wouldn't let him. Because that motherfucker had a plan. And that was to fuck up everyone. Part of the negative response to Man of Steel is, I think it was like a steady diet of Marvel superhero films that some of the main movie-going audience, the casual, that is, this superhero movie fans, had gotten used to and had expected from this Man of Steel. It got a little too dark, a little too serious, and I don't think a lot of people expected that. Not enough jokes. Well, no fucking shit, not enough jokes. It had funny moments, but Zack Snyder didn't go out of his way to write jokes into the narrative. Nothing wasn't, and that's one of the issues I have with Marvel movies. I quite enjoy Marvel movies. I do love me some Marvel superheroes, but at times, whenever there's a moment of genuine pathos or gravitas, consequence, really, they undercut it with a joke. Because it's for little kids, I guess. That really fucking annoys the shit out of me. I mean, the Marvel movies I most enjoyed, that would be Guardians of Galaxy, both of them, Thor 1 and 3, Ragnarok. Although Ragnarok, I do have the issue that the planet blows up, basically lost his world, and yeah, make a joke about it. You see that fucking Marvel issue, and they had to deal with whatever psychological issues were affecting Thor in Avengers Infinity War. There they addressed whatever issues Thor had. And again in Endgame, Thor's whatever fucking mental issues should have been addressed in the Thor movies. And yeah, it's pretty fucked up what happened to him. I wish we could address that. Marvel movies aside, what comes out next? Batman vs Superman. And boy, the reviews were not great. Now that aside, I got what was going on in the theatrical cut. I did enjoy it. But that 15 minutes that WB cut out, yeah, it did kind of mess things up a bit. 15 minutes cut out, yeah. A lot of story points were lost. A lot of things were explained in the extended cut. I do prefer the extended cut of BVS over the theatrical cut. But whatever issues people might have had with it while watching it in the cinema, yeah, you're still not gonna like it. I think that movie was very niche in itself, a very unique experience, which I like. Here's what I think: DC movies versus Marvel movies, there should be a glaring difference between the two. I mean, there is in the comics. Most of the main DC characters in the comics are basically god-level characters, unlike Marvel with, you know, Spider-Man and Ant-Man and all that. Batman is kind of an exception. But basically DC has a pantheon, to borrow a Marvel term. All the DC characters, if they were in Marvel, they would be considered, I suppose, like Omega level mutants. So there should be a glaring difference between the two styles of storytelling. DC should not be all happy-go-lucky. It's not what we're there for. If I want that, I'll fucking watch Marvel. Thank you. And after BVS, yeah, well, that was the reaction was extremely negative. I don't get it. So the WB assholes, they course correct and hand the reins over to Josh Whedon. We're not gonna go through this history of how they treated Snyder, why, and it was pretty shit. Anyway, I assume if you clicked on my face, you clicked on this topic, you know what happened, what they did to the man, how they treated him. Remember when the first trailer for Man of Steel came out? Some of you don't remember. I was working night shift, so yeah, I remember when I watched it on duty on a lonely island.
That the world wasn't ready. What do you think?
Yeah, I was ready. That scene of Superman just shooting up to the sky, I was, oh, finally, we're gonna get Superman the way Superman was meant to be. No, that Superman Returns crap, which was an okay movie. The trailer for BVS, especially I think the second trailer when they showed us Doomsday, come on. The excitement was in the air. It was palpable. That first sneak peek at Justice League we got at the Comic-Con, from the Comic-Con trailer.
Find out what that reason is.
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
It will. It has to.
Yeah, but instead, we got this shit.
God, I hope this is East.
Huh? Fuck was that? And this shit?
I knew you didn't bring me back because you like me.
I don't. Not.
Huh? You done did us dirt, WB. You done did the fans dirt, and we're not gonna forgive you, Ross. The bombardier thing you done did. Fuck you. WB really fucked up in the sense that they were reactionary. If Marvel was reactionary, Marvel Disney, they would not have had the success that they had. When Iron Man came out, it was loved, people enjoyed it, but it was not that huge runaway box office success that DC was expecting Man of Steel to be for some reason. And let's not forget, even Captain America, the first Avenger. I saw the reviews. People liked it. I liked it. But people weren't screaming about it from the rooftops. It was just a good movie making, but it wasn't great. There was nothing overly extraordinary with Captain America: The First Avenger, Captain America: Winter Soldier. Yeah, great movie. Captain America: The First Avenger was good, not great. Okay, Thor, one of my favorite Marvel movies, got mixed reviews. Didn't get great reviews. Mixed. A lot of people didn't like it. I loved it, personally. Maybe I'm a dickhead. Didn't get great reviews. And after that came Iron Man 2 in 2011 also. Got massacred by the critics. Did not get great reviews. Thor had at least mixed reviews. Iron Man 2 had negative reviews. Very negative reviews. And